Here's the irony. Being underestimated isn't weakness, it's a strategic advantage, and Kim Kardashian knew exactly how to use it. In the early 2000s, the world decided who Kim was. To them, she was a punchline, a socialite, a symbol of fame for nothing culture. And for many years, the intellectual elite laughed at her. But the good thing about being laughed at is that it could be your perfect cover. While the world was busy mocking her, Kim was building her empire. In today's video, we are going to look at how Kim Kardashian weaponized low expectation to build her billion-dollar empire. Hi, I'm Jay, and welcome to She Upgraded. In game theory, there's a concept called information asymmetry. Usually, the person with more information wins. When people underestimate you, they give you a strategic advantage. They don't see you as a competitor, so they're very likely to care less about you or your moves. Kim's early career was spent being a reality TV star, so to her critics, there was nothing strategic there. But she wasn't just a star, she was collecting data. She knew exactly what people clicked, she knew what they craved, she knew what certain demography admired and also loved to copy. This gave her what her competitors would do anything to have: organic data. Before SKIMS, shapewear was a product hidden in the back of departmental stores. Kim identified a gap that other businesses missed. And because they were not quick enough to catch on to the aesthetics economy, she utilized tactical empathy. Kim understood the pain point of the modern woman's silhouette because she had spent years living in that pain. Now, here's the intelligence in that. She didn't just sell underwear, she sold problem solving. And she kept on adjusting her product when she needed to. So this made her customers feel like they were seen and they were being listened to. And she also continued to expand her target market. And by the time the industry realized she was a legitimate threat, she had already captured the market share. You see, when you're underestimated, you have the power to keep your pivot invisible until it's already complete. I consider this to be the most uncommon part of this strategy. Many saw her baby bar journey as a PR stunt, but let's look deeper. This is actually a masterclass in branding. I'll call it intellectual rebranding. By entering the legal arena, she didn't just change her hobbies, she actually changed her utility. She leveraged her massive fame to solve very important problems like prison reform. You know what this does? So it creates this cognitive dissonance in the viewer's mind. When someone you have labeled as shallow does something really profound, the brain pays attention twice as much. The contrast effect is a cognitive bias where our perception of something is significantly altered by comparing it to something else we have recently experienced. So for example, a $100 bottle of wine looks reasonable if it's next to a 700 bottle of wine on a menu. However, the most expensive bottle on the list was, let's say, $80. So you see, that's one of the secrets of underestimation. Because everyone's expectation was so low, your win feels twice as large. Kim didn't just want to be the face of brands, she wanted to be the bank. Entering private equity is the ultimate I have arrived moment in the financial world. It requires a level of institutional respect, trust. She spent 2 decades building an infrastructure of distribution. She's now the one who is vetting the serious businessmen. Because she wasn't taken seriously, she could barely rely on respect from others, so she relied on structure. She didn't just sell herself as a genius. Instead, she let people see what she was building for herself. And she learned how to license deals. She learned how to allow company profit from her image, exchange ideas for a fee, instead of just relying on letting others determine her income. She learned the business fully before owning one. Underestimation teaches you to look away from applause and focus on building assets for yourself. Because people who respect you today might choose not to tomorrow if someone new and trendy comes along. But you see, what you build for yourself remains. When people hold you in high esteem, they expect so much from you, so much that sometimes they are very critical towards you when you fail or make a mistake. Kim understood this, and whether or not she knows it, she benefited from it. No one was expecting any invention from her. Most people just thought she would remain the influencer she always was. So when people underestimate you, failing is not as difficult because you're already labeled as them as someone they shouldn't expect something serious from. So this allows you to try as many times as possible without feeling like you're disappointing anyone. Underestimation gave her rare ability to play the long game in plain sight. Kim's greatest strategic advantage was not fame. It was how that fame was interpreted. She occupied a cultural position that was hyper visible yet intellectually dismissed, being seen everywhere while rarely being taken seriously nowhere, because she was perceived by majority as someone who wasn't strategic. So this gave her time, camouflage, and data. Time because she didn't need to rush outcomes to prove any hater wrong. She could afford patience. Camouflage because her moves were not seen as strategic. Instead, they were seen as entertainment. Data because consistent exposure gave her direct feedback on consumer behavior, desire, brand loyalty. So she collected this information organically while being overlooked. Kim had a hidden power most people did not pay attention to: leverage. We cannot dismiss the advantage she had being the child of her parents, Robert Kardashian and Kris Jenner. Kim also mentioned in one of her videos that at some point she had worked in her dad's office. Now, this gave her some amount of exposure. I think this exposure opened her early to how power behaves, and also the popular case placed her family at an intersection of media, law, reputation, management, elite network. Being daughter to Kris also contributed to her success because Kris made sure to milk every scandal, every appearance into something that was beneficial. Also, she had mentioned in one of her videos that even though it wasn't so huge, her father left them something, which I consider to also be an advantage. Kim, in my opinion, also married strategically. Marrying someone who is that famous and well-to-do helps you to advance in life as a strategic woman. When you're being underestimated, even if you have leverage, people tend to forget because they don't really pay attention to those little positive things that can actually be your advantage. You see, the power of leverage is still being underestimated today, and leverage allows you to gain significant outcome with less effort. Validation is a distraction. If you spend your energy trying to convince people you're smart, you're wasting the energy you should be using to build. There's a quiet little power in letting people be wrong about you. Let them think you're just another creator. Let them think you're just another influencer, or just a girl with a small business, or someone who is working a 9-to-5 job and there's really nothing more to. While they're busy acting like they know how to run the world, you just stay busy improving on yourself one day at a time. You see, Kim Kardashian didn't win by changing everyone's mind. She won by letting people keep their opinion while she took the market unaware. Being the underdog is the only position where your opponents never see the knockout punch coming. If you want to move forward strategically so you can build the kind of life you want for yourself that is filled with opportunities and possibilities, I highly recommend you watch this video about leverage, which is another strategic tool. Check the link in the description box.